the famed halls of Capitol Records, Judy Garland, Dean Martin, Nat King Cole, the great Frank Sinatra, and right now, on the same vein, Megadeth. We're spinning Headbangers Ball and Countdown to the Ball with Megadeth tonight, and we're going to go in the studio right now and hook up with them. But first, we're going to be playing the top 7 videos in Countdown to the Ball, so stick around. Countdown to the Ball continues. We're about to play the number 7 video, but right now we're here with Junior and Marty from Megadeth, and we're in the studio, and this isn't quite the studio you guys...
Not our studio, but a studio.
Yeah, we record here. That's to be on the record.
This is one of the oldest studios here in the basement of Capitol Records, the big towers up above here. But yeah, the studio that we're in actually is over in Burbank. And as we speak right now, Max Norman is mixing the 3rd song. We have 2 mixes done. So out of the 12 songs we're mixing, it's a pretty long process. I mean, just the mixing itself has been taking sometimes 2 or 3 days per song.
Before we go into the stuff like the mixing and the producing, I know that a lot of people, you know, myself included, don't really know a lot of the process about how you guys do an album and where the concepts and where it starts and goes to where. Like, what does it start off with, you guys coming up with ideas for the songs, right?
It starts like with a riff, you know, one of the 4 of us will come up with a riff, and then maybe another one of us will have a riff, and we'll try to put it together in a way that it makes a song, you know, and we'll try to build our riffs together as much as we can, and then, you know, we put them into different songs, different orders, every possible configuration of this riff until we decide, yeah, this is the song, and then we make a demo of it, and that's the beginning, the birth.
We're going to be with Megadeth the whole show tonight, and we'll find out the whole process, how they make the Megadeth album that you'll have very, very soon. And right now, here is the number 7 video in Countdown to the Ball. Headbangers Ball here. It's Countdown to the Ball. You just saw video number 5, and the top 4 is on the way. And we're here with David and Marty from Megadeth, and we're just kind of talking about the processes of recording a new album, because whenever a Megadeth album comes out, obviously it's going to be
It's a very long process.
And in my opinion, the Megadeth albums have got better and better and better. And I have heard cuts off the new album, which...
These are just rough mixes, by the way.
I said a long time ago on Headbangers Ball that the stuff I heard was the best Megadeth I've ever heard.
Cool.
And do you have any ideas on titles yet?
The title of the record will be called Countdown to Extinction. There's going to be, as of right now, there's going to be 11 tunes on the record. We have another song. We actually put down 13 songs. We finished 12, and we decided to put 11 on the record, and then there's one that we're going to use for a B-side of the first single. So when you buy the CD or the cassette tape as a single, there'll be another song on there that won't be on the record, and the only way you'll be able to get that is if you buy the first single.
So you're going to make them buy more things.
Yeah. Well, it's not really so much buying more things. It's kind of, I mean, with our, you know, the people that like our music, I think that they like to get their hands on the special music that nobody else can get, you know. So.
And we'll be back talking to the guys in Megadeth and the countdown. We got 4 left in Countdown to the Ball, so stay tuned. Coming up later on in the Headbangers Ball, we've got videos from Guns N' Roses, Ozzy, and of course, Megadeth, and I'm here right now with Dave and Marty from Megadeth, and we're talking about the processes of recording a new album, and you said that it starts off with some riffs, you know, like you guys come up with like guitar parts first.
The writing,
Dave will come up with something.
Yeah, I mean it's like a project, and it's definitely a long process. I mean, as Marty was saying, you know, just the writing alone. I mean, we started writing this while we were still out on the road on Clash of the Titans. We started writing, and when we came home, but rather than just like sitting around and like being bored and, you know, scratching our heads and picking our noses, wondering what we're gonna do, we went right in the studio and started making demos, which is kind of like our way to put our music down on tape, listen back to it, and then we know like what parts we should chop up and make edits and that's all done before we even go in the studio to actually record the real record, and that kind of just gives us an idea of what we're up against, you know. And then once we record, it's a matter of putting the drums down, recording the bass, recording guitars, then solos, then vocals, then background vocals, and then some effects. It's, you know, so it's everything is recorded one instrument at a time, though. You know, so it's not like you'd think, and then hopefully it's going to come out sounding like a full band and not like it was recorded one instrument at a time. But that's just how we can be really meticulous and make sure that every single note is perfectly nailed and perfectly in tune, and just makes for a good sounding record.
Great. We'll be back talking to guys in Megadeth throughout the entire show, and may even get to preview a little bit of the stuff on that you probably want so bad. Right now, here's number 4 on Countdown to the Ball.
Let's do this.
That was number 2 on Countdown to the Ball, and the number 1 video on Countdown to the Ball is coming up, and we're talking to the guys in Megadeth, Dave and Marty here, and we've got the tape right here. Take a listen. Anyways,
yeah, you're making copies when you go home. He'll be like,
right now, they don't realize that this case is empty right now, and I'm making copies, and I'll be sending them to each and every one of you, trying to build up the fan base. Anyways, are there certain songs that each of you contributed more to? I mean, is it definitely a band collaboration?
Yeah, I mean...
Or do you ever say, you know, let's not let Nick do anything, just let him play the drums?
We say that all the time, but
that's why I use Nick as an example.
He corners Dave and goes, dude, come on, let me write some stuff, come on. No, this was definitely a lot more of a group collaboration. I mean, in the past, you know, Dave has written most of the material, I've written stuff, and Dave and I have written things together, and nobody else has really contributed anything, you know, with the music, and Nick and Marty made a sizable contribution to the whole thing.
And this time, it's the same lineup as the last lineup.
Can you believe it? Surprise, surprise.
So you guys still the You kept the same Megadeth lineup, something you're probably quite glad about.
Yeah, right.
And does it feel like the band is tighter than the prior album?
The only time we've ever
played together on another album.
The first 2 records we used the same lineup, even though it kind of disintegrated and got back together again to make the second record. And you know, this is the lineup. You know. I don't know where the hell these guys were when we like formed the band in the first place.
Because I've seen the band with different lineups, and this is the tightest lineup. I mean, I've said that on tons of shows.
Yeah.
We'll be back talking to these guys as the Headbangers Ball is hanging out with Megadeth in the studio and beyond. The number 1 video on Countdown to the Ball is next. Stay here. We're about to play the number 1 video on Countdown to the Ball, and we're in the studio at Capitol Records
with
that
video?
Megadeth. Well, we're about to see it in a little bit.
You don't know?
But it'd be a nice idea just to talk to you.
Just
because we
bit.
haven't.
Yeah.
Because David, one second. There's a question that I could
go right over there.
Give to you. Yeah. Did it feel a little bit different now that you recorded the second album with Megadeth? Because, you know, before you were like, did you feel like nervous, like you really had to show how good a musician you were? Because you know that Megadeth has sort of a history of changing members.
Well, I think I subconsciously always do that, as probably every guitarist probably always tries to show how good they are all the time. But the first record for me with Rust in Peace, I only had like a month to learn all the material, write all my guitar solos, and learn the entire back catalog in like a month, and then go into the studio and record it. So that was just completely hellish, for lack of a better word. And this time, you know, I lived with the band. We toured together, and we just toured the world and wrote all this stuff together, and I had tons of time to prepare myself, and it was a lot easier.
Now, in Rust in Peace, was all the songs for that record already recorded? I mean, already written down before you joined the band?
They were pretty much
so
written,
except for in that much.
Hangar 18 was written after I joined the band, but most of my contributions on that record was the solos. You know, I really thought them out for myself.
So you did get to put in a little bit more
I think so.
ideas in this one.
Yeah,
Great.
this time for sure.
We're hanging out with Megadeth for the entire Headbangers Ball, and right now, the last video in Countdown to the Ball, it's the number 1 video. Here it is. Welcome to the Headbangers Ball. We're spending the night with Megadeth in the studio and talking about the new record, and you might like even let us hear a little bit of it.
You heard some of it.
That was it. We've got the Triple Thrash shred on the way, and included is Prong, who have a new record coming out soon with remixes of some of their greatest hits. And of course, we're going to be playing some videos from Megadeth, including Peace Cells. But right now, I'm talking to Dave and Nick, and we're talking about the new album, which will be out sometime in July.
July 6th, tentatively.
And when we were talking to the other guys, we were talking about sort of the process of recording a record, because a lot of people hear the record and they hear bands talking about getting producers and stuff like that, but aren't sure exactly what a producer's job is. And when we left with Dave and Marty, they were telling us about the first thing you guys do, the riffs, and then the vocals, and then go in and do like each track separately, sort of, right?
Well, that's a new one on me.
Actually, the first thing we do are the drums. So it's more painstaking for me because I get under the gun before anybody else does. And then we do the bass, guitars, vocals, mixing.
You always hear bands talk about their producer and saying, oh, we have this producer, we have that producer. What is the job, really, of a producer?
You're just a highly paid critic.
Play pinball, ping pong.
I played a lot of ping pong and pinball on this record. Max's job, on the other hand, you know, he came in and he pretty much became part of the band. What was that? And he just, you know, we kind of worked with stuff. You know, a lot of times producers will come in and they'll think all of a sudden, cool, now I get a jacket and I'm going to be able to bone some of your babes, you know, and the next thing you know, the guy's fired. I mean, how many records have we started with a different producer than the one we end with? This one, unless Max has an aneurysm, he's going to be completing the record probably end of the month.
We're going to be talking about the new Megadeth record and future plans for Megadeth, and right now let's play a video from Megadeth. Would you like to intro this?
This is Peace Sells, but who's buying?
Headbangers Ball.
Is that something dried on there?
Here with Megadeth, and we're talking a little bit about Max Norman, who produced the new Megadeth record, which the title is Countdown to Extinction.
Last time we checked, yeah.
But
it's changed 4 times so far, this record.
Yeah, it has. It could change again maybe, but I doubt it. It'll probably stay Countdown to Extinction.
Unless we get one of those little Avery label makers and sticker a couple of thousand records.
You can get those. We're here in the studio with Megadeth, and I'd like to ask you a question, Nick, because the last album, Rust in Peace, was your first time playing on a Megadeth record, and being your second time and now a member of the band.
I did No More Mr. Nice Guy. It was the first record that I recorded with Megadeth. To correct you, not to that you don't know your
album though.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And did you feel a little bit more relaxed going into the studio this time, or do you still feel like you're kind of walking on eggshells?
No.
Being the history of
the eggshells are over. I've cleaned that. I raked all that wreckage away. Yeah, this album was definitely much more relaxed. Being that I have songwriting on this album and was there from the beginning of the writing of the songs, it was a lot more comfortable of an environment for us this time. It wasn't so high pressure, like, hey, we got to get in and do this record and see if Nick's is happening as he says he is, and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't about that this time. And
yeah, it was.
Well, you knew it wasn't.
It wasn't that way to me. It was very comfortable.
We're going to be back with Megadeth on the Headbangers Ball, and hopefully Dave will be playing us a little bit of the new record when the Headbangers Ball continues. Stick around. We're here in the studio with Megadeth, and Dave, I guess you were about to play us a little bit of something.
Watch. See this finger? Watch. Watch. Here we go.
This is a premiere of
Here we go.
some new Megadeth.
Here we go. Right over here.
Finger of death.
It's the Headbangers Ball, and we're here hanging out in the studio with Megadeth, and we're talking about the new record, which you didn't really play any of it yet. I'd like to talk a little bit about it. You played a little bit. I mean, we liked it. I've heard the demos on the new record, and the stuff that I heard, I mean, I'm not saying it because you're here. I like it a lot. I've said it on the show several times that I think it's the best Megadeth yet. And do you have an album cover idea for this yet?
Yeah.
Are you going to let us in on that? I mean, you can describe, or are you just going to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's going to say Megadeth on it.
Okay, we figured that. Will Vic be on it?
No.
Why?
He'll be on the back.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yep.
You gotta have Vic. Is there a certain theme, like the last one had Vic holding stuff up?
It's totally different, except it's exactly the same.
That elaborates. What more could be said?
No, we're using a very, 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 very cool guy to do it. That should get me the next cover free, but I won't say his name. He's done a lot of really popular bands' covers, none of which I'll mention. But
You don't want to mention the artist's name?
His name's Hugh. And he's a Canadian, eh? Hey, have a Pepsi and a May West, eh? Anyway, so
Take off.
Yeah, take off, Hoser. No, he's a really, really cool guy, and we've kind of been juxtaposed on some of the ideas, and yet some of his ideas weren't quite what we were thinking of. And, we've agreed to disagree on some stuff, and since, he was really open-minded about it, as we were, we had 2 alternates of each cover, one for the single and one for the album. And it turned out being, we looked at his way and we looked at my way, and it ended up being my way. So.
Okay. Well, we're going to find out more about the record, and hopefully we'll get Dave to play more of what we heard a little earlier. Here is Judas Priest with Painkiller. It's Headbangers Ball. We're in the studio with Megadeth, and Dave is going to play us a little bit more of what we heard earlier. So if you're videotaping the show tonight, you might take that and add it to this and get like half of a Megadeth song before your friends have it. And you're going to play us a little part of this same song that you sort of played before, right?
Do you want to do it?
Which song is it? This Was My Life?
This Was My Life.
This Was My Life. Well, go right ahead.
takes a while here. Listen right here. Has the bones in my head.
So what you played before was at the very beginning, and this was towards the very ending. Which so far, I've heard the whole song. I think that is real cool. I mean,
Right.
I like the stuff that I've heard, and definitely when the Megadeth record is out, you guys are all going to buy it, and you're going to dig it. And right now, it's time for the Triple Thrash Threat. Here is a video from Prong, a band that gets classified in either industrial or different or whatever. They're Prong. They're on the way, and right now, here is a video from Megadeth. That was the #1 video on Countdown to the Ball, and right now it's time for the Headbangers Ball. So we're here with Megadeth. We were talking about how we're all into that big Latin disco scene right now. And,
Yeah, big in Rio, huh?
Yeah, real big in Rio.
Copacabana.
Never mind. Anyways, well, this doesn't have very many songs. They took the tape that I had before with all the Megadeth songs on it, but I have heard it. Are there certain songs on the album that you
Cooperated
Not
with?
cooperated.
Yeah, I cooperated with all of them, actually.
that you participated in more than others? Like, is there one song that you kind of say, hey, this is my song?
Well, the one song, actually the one you'd relate to is High Speed Dirt. It's about the skydiving song, Blue Sky, Black Death, be a dirt torpedo. Kind of like some of the catchphrases from Paris Valley, our little skydiving center down there, you know. That was one, actually, the last time we jumped, when Marty and I went down there together. He was driving on the way back. I was sitting there with a pencil and like writing down all these lyrics, you know, because it was just like, it was like the total adrenaline rush, you know. It's like you get so amped before you jump, and once you jump, you're just like totally wiped out. So I was sitting there writing down these lyrics, and I showed him to Dave, and he threw in, you know, a couple little twists on it as well, so he could sing it, you know, fit it in with the music, and I dig that song a lot.
So do I.
Yeah.
The song High Speed Dirt then is a song about skydiving. Were there any songs that you
Yeah, I worked on
participated in more than
others. I participated on the whole thing quite a bit. On Captive Honor, I wrote the guitar part for the chorus, and David and I worked out the intro. I mean, he wrote the intro, and then we kind of co-wrote it together, the clean intro part, for those of you who are going to have the record soon. And then we just kind of built the song around our parts.
Dave isn't here right now?
No. Break it out.
Dave isn't here. Maybe he'll play some. Maybe
piss him right
I know.
off.
Maybe we'll play commercials and we'll listen to all of it, and then
That's what we'll do.
I'll sing it for you in another show.
Yeah,
Don't-
Marty and I did a
don't
lot
worry,
of
that's
that,
not gonna
actually.
happen.
Just get together and like start, you know, throwing some stuff back and forth. I mean, that was a cool one for us because it wasn't like a full distorted guitar part. It was like clean tone. We were like, hey, check out this clean tone. We'd turn on some
right.
like
We play like that.
disgustingly
Hey, we
clean
actually
guitar
have a clean tone.
Exactly. We were fighting for that one for a while. We're like, man, we got to put this on the record, you know.
Yeah.
But it's cool because it's something really different, you know. But then the song totally breaks into
The very
a heavy,
Megadeth.
yeah,
Very
exactly.
institutional
We're going to
song.
find out more about the new album, as well as other things in the lives of Megadeth as the Headbangers Ball continues. So don't go anywhere, okay? It's the Headbangers Ball, and we're here with Dave and Marty from the band Megadeth. And I know you guys have got other things to do, so real quick, I'd like to ask you, what do you feel are the future plans for Megadeth now that the new record will be out? And I predict it's going to be the biggest selling Megadeth record yet.
I don't know, maybe we'll pull a Steely down and just stay home. Not tour at all.
Or just get in your bed for like 3 years.
Just lay around for a while, being totally spent after being in the studio.
But you're getting ready to get back out on the road?
Unleash and do gigs, definitely.
Because Megadeth is definitely a live band.
Definitely, man. It's been, last time we played was when we played the thing for
Cat
you
House
at the party,
Anniversary.
yeah. And that was 8 months ago,
Yeah.
something like that. That was a long time ago. So
I'm still recuperating from that show. We had a
hopefully this
blast.
time it won't be like Alpine Valley where everybody threw sod at the stage, you know. It was like we ended up playing this gig and they put
That means they like you.
Yeah,
Sod
I know.
means they like
in Europe
you.
they throw beer bottles, and at Alpine Valley they throw sod.
Sod.
You guys remember, those of you who live in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
knew sod.
Still have the sod under your fingernails. And we'd like you to say one word to describe what you feel the new Megadeth album, and don't use the word heavy.
Just one word.
One word.
Just one word.
Yeah.
All right. I think Heavy has nothing really to do with it. It's unbelievably, unforsakably, hellishly heavy enough to rock you into a violent coma.
It almost sounded
There's that one word again.
It sounded like 14, but he just spells it. It's a one very long word. Thanks for hanging out.
Right
Good
on,
luck
man.
with the new record and the tour, and you know that we'll be probably out on the road with him, hanging with you, driving you crazy. Once again, in the meantime, here is a video from Queensryche. Headbangers Ball here, back with, what's that?
Those are my rap signals.
Okay. Here with Dave and Nick from Megadeth.
What a geek.
And we were talking about the, he said it to you this time. We were talking about the new stuff from Megadeth, which you played just a very little bit. The release date is sometime in
1992.
July. And you're going to play us a little bit of another song, which will be Cyclotron.
What, Coltron?
Cyclotron.
No,
You see an L in there?
Psycho.
Yes, I
L
do.
for later, dude.
Doesn't that look like an
No,
L?
that's an H, as in ha!
Does it look like an L to you?
Psychotron.
Okay, Psychotron. I read him as I see him, ladies and gentlemen. But you'll play us a little bit of it?
Not after that.
Okay, so it goes something like this. Either my humming or you
What a
playing.
mallard.
I'm used to it. Pretty soon it doesn't even faze me.
I had to come up with something new.
Mallard? Mallard. That's a good one.
Used to be really bad.
What?
When I first came on the show,
Oh, I know that.
I used to like throw you mad and you just be like,
I know that.
that's not very cool.
People forgot me. Why does James hate you so much? I keep saying.
Here you go. This is new.
Yeah, I know, I didn't hear that. There you go. At least we got to hear a little bit more of that, and I like it, and I want to talk to you about that song, as well as others, and we will. But right now, let's take a look at a video from Megadeth. You can intro this one.
Enter.
And intro.
Oh,
Tell us the video we're going to play.
Hangar 18.
Very good. Here with Dave and Nick from Megadeth, and real quick, I want to mention just a couple titles of songs, and you might tell me a little bit about what the songs mean.
He'll tell you.
For instance, just so you know, my favorite song, which you show a lot of the Mustaine attitude in, is Sweating Bullets. Would you agree with that? I mean,
That's your favorite? Yeah.
No, would you agree that there's definitely some attitude in that song?
Yeah, there's attitude. My favorite line is "Nice story. Tell it to Reader's Digest."
I know, I said it on MTV once, and I felt really bad because if you saw it, I thought you were going to kill me. So I guess you did.
What, because of your
It
plagiarism?
was months ago. I said it on the show one time, and I said that was Dave's line. I just stole it from him.
I saw that.
Did you see that one? I was hoping he didn't see it.
But I didn't get you into any trouble.
Thank you very much. The song we heard, Psychotron, is written about
A cyborg. Actually, it's about. I was watching some stupid news show when we were on tour, and they were talking about in Russia the commies or the ex-commies. They were sticking microchips in people's noses and in the base of their stem of their brain, and you can control them. The Lida machine, you know, you can make them be non-stop combatants, and they could wage war with no emotion, and they didn't need any food, and they would basically kill until their body died, whether it was through numerous bullets, which would be what it would take, or they just ran out of food because, you know, they could only run so long off their fat deposits. And the story is something similar like that, yet it has a tinge of the comic hero Deathlock in it. And, you know, the weird thing was I went out to Laughlin, which is the city out by the river, and I was in a grocery store with my family, and I saw something that said The Punisher, and it said Deathlock, and I went, oh, quack, this guy's a jerk. But, you know, the Punisher thing, so I read it, and I saw it, and I liked it, and I connected with it, and I was already writing the thing on the Lida machine, so it just made good sense.
What's a Lida machine?
It's the machine that they use to control the microchip they stick in your nose. Maybe you should back up this tape and you'll hear me say it.
No, you said you were writing something on the Lida machine. I thought that was like some sort of... Okay.
Okay.
We're figuring it out. Should we skip to another song real quick?
Sure.
Tell me about any other songs.
Well, High Speed Dirt now is dedicated to our friends that died down at Paris Valley Skydiving Center. There's a line in there that was told to me actually, I experienced this line one time. I was coming in for a landing, and I was crosswind, and I got dragged across the grass really hard. I became a turf torpedo. I changed that to dirt torpedo, and I'm sure there's a couple people with some sexual fetishes that will think that that's a connotation towards being a bike rack or something. But what are you smiling for?
I just think that's a funny way to put it.
Dirt torpedo?
Sure. We're going to talk about some other stuff, and I even actually want to ask some personal stuff, so I know you're going to want to stick around as the Headbangers Ball continues. It's a Headbangers Ball, and we're here with Dave and Nick from Megadeth.
How come you never said Nick and Dave?
Nick and Dave from the band Megadeth. And I'd like to ask you a couple questions a little bit different from the record. Congratulations, you have a son now.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
That's changed your life quite a bit, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, kinda.
I mean, in what way? Would you say that you're more mature? Have you do you look things in a different way?
Well,
I mean, I talked to you when you just became a father and you were really excited.
Yeah, well, that was before I had to deal with some young male sucking on my wife's bosom every day. Kind of makes me jealous. But yeah, it's cool. I wouldn't recommend having a baby to anybody that didn't have the patience or the fortitude or the finances to do it. You know, because it's pretty overwhelming. Believe me, now I know why so many people are such lousy parents, because it takes a lot to really to be there patiently and care, and a lot of people will give up, and it's just all in your brain. I feel I finally identify with why this generation of all of us and the kids are a little bit younger than us and stuff like that, why we got so over by our parents, because they just gave up on us, and I'm going to make sure that I make amends to myself by being a good father for what happened to me. It's really weird, because you get to look at being a parent and you see a lot of the things that how it can in retrospect develop into being a dysfunctional relationship. It's tough being a parent, and I'm only 10 weeks into it.
Right.
The best thing about it is the little geezer hasn't whizzed on me yet. He's nailed everybody else in the family, man. You take off the diaper, I pull one over there and I hide.
Now changing the subject back onto this Megadeth. You plan on touring pretty soon, as soon as this record is out there?
Yeah, we got some stuff in the works right now. We'll probably look for a late July, early August to kick off our big tour. We'll probably do some scattered gigs, before then. We're supposed to go to New York and do something, and maybe to Europe to do some festival shows, but it's all subject to change,
Well, thanks again for taking the time to talk to us and kind of let us in on how you make the records and what the stuff's about, and giving us a very small preview of the new Megadeth. It'll be out in your stores July. I've heard some of it, and it's the best Megadeth I've heard.
You heard the whole thing. You had the demo tape.
I'm trying to just weasel a tape out of them. That's the honest truth. Thanks again for stopping by.
Weasel's the
For letting
word.
us stop by. That's the other guy. We'll be back, and thanks again with Megadeth.
What other guy?
Hope you enjoyed this special encore presentation of our special show with Megadeth in the studio. Remember, the new album is called Countdown to Extinction. It comes out this Tuesday, and in my opinion, it is honestly the best Megadeth album. I've got every Megadeth album. I've always dug Megadeth, and I really dig the new album. And I wouldn't be saying that just because Dave Mustaine is always so nice to me. Also, check out the band performing live on Hanging with MTV this Wednesday. Remember, Hanging with MTV is a completely live show, so who knows what's going to happen. Megadeth live on that show will be very interesting. Next week on The Ball, Faith No More are going to be guest hosting the show. It's part of this MTV special weekend on the Metallica Guns N' Roses Summer Stadium Tour. And check it out. Next Saturday, I will be at the Metallica Guns N' Roses rehearsals in Washington, D.C. So I'm totally psyched about that, and I hope you'll be watching it too. Had a lot of fun, even though I was just here for this little bit. Remember to keep one foot in the gutter, one fist in the goal. Bye.